Well, hello, hello, hello. My name is Stu, aka Portland Stew, and this is my brief intro to my new, well, not new, but my newly repurposed YouTube channel. I am a Sorcery Contested Realm addict. Uh, it's an incredible game, incredible art. You can see here on the screen is a deck I made early on when I started playing and superimposed my cat's faces onto Lugbog Cat and Questing Beast. This was a deck I called The Beast Below in honor of a great episode of Doctor Who, and it was all water beasts. Really fun with a Wolpertinger thrown in, anyways. That's neither here nor there because we're here to talk about this channel and who I am and what I'm going to do. So, yeah, my name is Stu. I have been contributing to some other sorcery content platforms basically since I got into the game or got really obsessed with the game, which was in 2025, kind of shortly after Gen Con, is when I heard about the game and got into it. I won't tell the long version of the story, but like many people, I played Magic once upon a time, quit a long time ago. I'd always been kind of looking for a TCG that looked worth playing to me. Got super hooked by sorcery, partially for the art, a big part because of the release schedule being once a year and the rarity rules around deck building. And then when I saw the positional play aspect and how the board was part of the game, I really got sold. So, in any case, this is me right here. I'm Portland Stew. This is at one of our local cornerstones here in Portland. Over here is Sam from Rose City Sorcery and Eric from Wizards of Fun, who are two YouTube content creators who I've helped with videos on their channel before. Here I am playing the final round of that cornerstone at Fab Foundry. This is the top 8 pick. And yeah, this is me at the other big cornerstone I played in our local area. My biggest claim to fame. I managed to take first place in this cornerstone at the Portland Game Store. This was right before the Druid change, pre-Gothic. So here I'm holding my prizes, being really excited. So yeah, I'm also a Go player, so that I bring to the game as well. And yeah, I decided to make a channel just because I'd been contributing to other people's content and I'm not really trying to sort of be a content creator in a big way, but I just love the game. I love to talk about it, and I figured I might as well put up a channel so I can put up videos. I'll still try and channel a lot of the more well thought out stuff to other platforms like the Eternal Durdles blog, which I've contributed to. This was my first article with them, and to things like Rose City Sorcery, which is sort of the main channel for our local area, and Wizards of Fun, whenever he'll have me. And yeah, so I thought for this intro episode, I'd just give a quick rundown of sort of the stuff I've already put out there in the world. Um, make a little bloggy style video. My videos are probably not going to be high quality. We're just going to talk about sorcery. So I guess I'll start out with this Rise of the Town article. I also did an interview with Wizards of Fun about the fire aggro town based deck that I went undefeated in 2 cornerstones with, which is a funny story in itself. One of the cornerstones I had to drop out after I made it to the round of 4 because I was in a mathematical haunted house performance. In any case, so this is that deck with the big highlight being the use of the town here and really leaning on exceptional minions. And so then I ended up writing this article for Eternal Durdles where this is before we knew very much about Gothic. There had been a few spoilers, and my pitch for this article was basically that with Gothic coming out, we're going to hit that critical mass where you'll be able to build top tier decks that are mono element pretty easily because we'll have that critical mass of really strong cards in each element. So building mono element decks will be a lot better. You'll be able to use more utility sites when you're building mono elements, since you don't have to be as worried about threshold. Though there's a lot of really threshold greedy cards in Gothic, we now realize. And then exceptionals, I think, are the heartblood of reliable, high functioning decks in sorcery because you can run 3 of them, so you can. And there tends to be a lot of exceptionals that sort of have similar themes. Like one of the things I talk about in this article is how like Quarrelsome Kobold and Colicky Dragonettes serve a similar purpose in any deck, or Red Cap Poweries and Saracen Raiders, right? And so you end up running 6 or even 9 copies of these minions who kind of do the same job. And if they're exceptionals, you can get them at a discount. That means, a higher chance of double spelling. You're ahead of the curve, and you can really win the tempo game in sorcery. And yeah, that was basically what this article was. And I think it's proven pretty true that mono element has been really popular coming out the gate in Gothic. This is a deck I kind of built without much thought that feels sort of broken strong, though I'm not even running the towns in this because, I don't know, just mono water is so strong, especially with Necromancer and getting things like cheating out your gnarled Wendigo on turn 3 and still getting to generate a skeleton, and then Koi Nixie with Thin Ice now, in addition to the old Troll Bridge trick, is just broken strong. Winter Nymph, I mean, yeah, mono water is so strong. But in any case, that was sort of the first article I did, and then the interview I did about the deck. And this is something that, we discussed. I discussed this town theory with other players. I know a lot of other people managed to make top 8s in Crossroads around that time, running mono fire decks that featured town strongly. Then more recently, I wrote a couple short articles about limited and Gothic. I'm so interested in limited and Gothic. I've been loving playing it. I've been playing a lot of it, just drafting and sealed all I can. And so 2 weeks into Gothic, I decided to take a stab at a quick breakdown of what I thought of limited so far. The headlines of this were that Necromancer is super duper strong. It shows up in the exceptional slot. So at basically any sealed or draft event you're at, there's a high chance of at least one player getting a Necromancer. And it just slots into any deck easily, gets you squares on the board, and then there's all of this synergy that you can build into with it as well, with recurring minions and whatnot. Talking about Harbinger not being really that good in limited, though I'm still going to try and play it, to be honest. If I see one, pack one, pick one at a draft, I'll probably grab it and go for the big boys deck and just not do that well. Savior, I think a lot of people. I was talking with a good friend who's been playing a Savior deck online a lot and running into some salt from people about it. Because, yeah, this ward just makes everything so sticky, makes the game more complicated. I think Savior is surprisingly easy to handle for Necromancer, and that's why I still think Necromancer is going to be the top dog of the Gothic world, the Gothic limited avatars. But I managed to pack one, pick one as Savior in a draft recently, and man, that deck was so, it was, getting to just pick all of the wardable minions and drop those wards. It's great. And Constructed Savior is a little harder. I figured at the end of this video I'd do show, I don't know, this is a weird rambling video, but I might show a quick peek at a constructed deck I've been enjoying that is a Savior fire aggro using the towns. But that having to squeeze out the extra mana to ward things means you're kind of behind curve a lot. And so Savior can be a little tough. I think running it with, I don't know, I think there's a lot of potentially strong builds with Savior, especially in elements that have overpowered minions for their cost. Because then you can maybe sort of still be matching curve with your opponent, but hitting the wards. But in any case, it's very strong and limited if you've got the minions for it. And then Persecutor, I think, is the sleeper cell of the Gothic avatars. I think it's really strong, so good and limited. You just build low to the ground with Persecutor, and you get your avatar up to the front lines after you drop like 4 sites, and then you're just like removing their minions with your avatar and gaining so much board presence. Plus, things like Begone, Holy Water, and Smite with Persecutor are crazy good. Yeah, and then the rest of this article, I talk about some of the other avatars. I kind of throw out my top 5 ordinaries and top 3 exceptionals for each element, which I already disagree with some of these rankings, like, and I kind of disagreed with them as I was writing them. It seems weird, yeah, to look at it now. It's only another week and a half later, but I've played some more drafts since then, and like Flame Strike, I think is significantly better than Trial by Fire, and I kind of slotted them both in at one level, and that's not fair to Flame Strike. It's so handy getting a lot of 2-for-1s and sometimes more than 2-for-1s. Like you kill something big and clear out their skeletons. Flame Strike is great. Yeah, and so that was this article. Kind of just gave all those, and then I also did a quick little article outlining some basics of limited play, and that's one thing I want to try and focus on with this channel is basically strategy guides for players who want to dig in on strategy, and then also some sort of new player focused guides and tips and tricks. I obviously learned a lot from these guys, and particularly this video is one I strongly recommend for getting the basics of limited. But yeah, I just kind of go over the core concepts for anyone experienced in limited. A lot of this is obvious stuff. I think this 4 quadrants thing was something I wasn't thinking about that I picked up from Nick and Froggy Mago to sort of think about these 4 sections of the game of sort of like when you're building up your board, and then there's sort of when you're even with your opponent. There's times when you've got the advantageous board position and times when you have the disadvantageous board position, and evaluating cards for how they play into each of those scenarios is an interesting lens to look through when you're thinking about limited deck building and card picking. And then the diagonal placement. I mean, that's if you're a new player who somehow has stumbled across this video, basically every time you are playing limited sorcery, like here's some random pictures of sorcery board states, but uh, you basically want your minions to be like this is a like there's a perilous bridge here, but ignore that. Like imagine this Goswit Helm was a minion, and so when I play my Grandmaster Wizard, I want to play here diagonally from it because then I can choose whether to block or not if it attacks in, and yeah, it just sort of like that's the sort of, and there's a lot of times you don't do that, but that's the de facto positioning like that, and I didn't realize that when I started playing, right? Like I always wanted to line my minions up with their minions because that's sort of the intuitive thing to do, and it's often the wrong choice in limited. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of some of the content I've put out there already, and I'm excited to have this channel up. Oh yeah, I guess I also did a video with Wizards of Fun where we commentated a round of 8 game at the Las Vegas Crossroads that Eric, that the Wizards of Fun had recorded. And then I'll close out the video with the quick deck tech on sort of a deck I've really been enjoying playing. I actually think there are better aggro, pure aggro builds right now, particularly with Persecutor and then the Pathfinder sort of fire aggro into mid range and Site Destruction. I think it's probably stronger than this as well, but this deck does really good into everything except Necromancer, which, you know, I feel like if your deck can't beat Necromancer, you're not going to do well in the meta coming out the gate because Necromancer's sort of the obvious front runner. I mean, Interrogator is the most popular, but and yeah, Interrogator aggro is also really strong. To me, Interrogator, if your aggro deck works, Interrogator makes it more deadly, but it doesn't help your aggro deck work. And that's why I lean away from Interrogator. It's like one of those, like if you go back to this ahead behind parity buildup, like Interrogator, once you're ahead, you're going to wreck with Interrogator, but Interrogator is not going to really get you, and like its ability isn't helping you on the board. It's like if you've helped yourself on the board, its ability is going to get you more ahead, which is good. But Savior, for instance, is going to make your aggression stronger. And so, yeah, this deck, I mean, if we sort it by rarity, let's see, 3, 5, 8, 11, 14, 15, 16, 19, 22, 24, 27 exceptional minions. That's almost half the deck. And I'm running 2 Ursat's Plats and 2 towns, with 1 town in the collection and a Funeral Pyre as my other collection site if I need it for threshold fixing or cemetery hate. Gotta eat your vegetables, as Golden Eagle taught me. That means play your cemetery hate so that Archimago stays dead, gets dead, and stays dead. But yeah, Ursat's Plat, I was so excited about it with town, and then I was like, oh no, you lose a turn, like you have to tap to play the town with Ursat's Plat. And then someone pointed out to me that the turn you replace Ursat's Plat, you get the mana from Ursat's and the new site you just placed. So turn 4, you actually get to hit 4 mana and draw a spell. And you're hitting 4 mana with a town, which means any exceptional minion in the deck can be warded the turn you play. Like when you can play a Siege Giant turn 4 to a town for 3 and ward it um, on turn 4, which is just, I think, really strong. You still kind of lose a turn of tempo after that, but if you got your town out, the town's giving you that tempo anyways. So, yeah, I'm excited to keep running with Ursats and see how it does. I also always run the Rift Valley for positional advantage, sinkhole for land destruction, and dealing with pebbled path and other big problems like that. And Wizard's Den, which may come out eventually, but I'm still keeping it in there for now. I always go for 8 non thresholded sites. Usually, was like the math I did back in this Rise of the Town article. You go check it out. I kind of break down all of these numbers for different, like if you run 8 non-thresholded versus 10 versus 12. And so I settled on 8 being the target, but I'm actually running 10 in the Skipping Towards Gamora. So I need to update the online version. I've stopped running the Hot Wheels too, just because I can't ward them, and they're so good, great for death blows. But at the end of the day, I want to ward my minions, um, and yeah, so that's, the deck is classic fire aggro, with the added bonus of getting to ward your minions. You can do a lot of cool stuff with charge minions since you can ward a minion that's played as many times as you want the turn it's played. So you can play a Poweries, ideally for 2, using town, ward it, attack and kill something that breaks the ward, and then ward it again, right? That's 4 mana to double ward a Poweries through a town. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy strong. It just dies to good Necromancer decks because the skeletons can be used as ward breakers super easily. And like this deck I threw together that I don't think I haven't played like a ton of games with this deck, but I don't think I've lost any. It's just so much value with Necromancer and just the class, like the mono water control into big guys suite that I feel like a lot of people are running is super strong. Like this was basically, I just had this as a Dragon Lord Vatten Draconis deck before Gothic, and I just slotted in Necromancer instead, and added in a couple things like the gnarled Wendigos that are particular to Necromancer, and yeah, it's really strong. I don't really like playing it, but it's really strong. I'm also, like, for this deck, go down 1 horrible hybrid and add another good exceptional. I'm messing around with Silver Bullet for fun. I think Toolbox will be the standard, but I generally build decks with an eye towards what I actually have the paper cards to support. And I, only have so many toolboxes. I have 2 silver bullets, so one of my decks is going to be a silver bullet deck for a while until I get more toolboxes. So yeah, that's me, and yeah, I'm really excited to sort of uh, mess around and make some sorcery videos. Hopefully, they'll be more cohesive in the future. Here's my YouTube channel. Uh, you can see right now it doesn't have any sorcery content yet. I'm going to post this video. It does have some old band videos from a band I was in back in like 2012, 2013, playing the upright bass. So yeah, hope you enjoy what we put out here on Portland Stew's Sorcery Show. and I'm looking forward to making some content and seeing how it goes. Don't expect anything fancy, but do expect things fun. I love this game. Like, the community is so great. I know everyone says it, but it's just such a fun game to be a part of. We're in a golden moment, and I'm just gonna use my obsession to maybe make a few videos and see if anyone likes them. Hope you have a great time out there contesting the realm, and let me know if there's, I'm far from the greatest sorcery player ever, but I've done pretty well so far in my local community. I'm really into the game. I'm super strategical and I love thinking about the strategy. So feel free to let me know in the comments or whatever if there's any sort of video that you've always wanted to see. I've got some limited, full, ordinary, and exceptional set review videos that are going to go out on Rose City Sorcery probably right around the time this video goes up on my site. And I made those because someone on our Discord was like, has anyone made a guide to Gothic Limited video yet? And I hadn't seen one, so I was like, oh, I'll make it. So yeah, I don't mind talking into the computer for a little bit and clicking around. So just let me know if there's any sort of content or breakdown you'd love to see, and I'll try and make it. Have a good one. Bye.